Hey Drew, welcome to the MasterCard Cup. Just want to give you an opportunity here to view your swing at regular speed. We'll let that play on through. We'll put you back in your dress position, and we'll go ahead and take a look at a few things for you. So while we got you back here in your setup, let's take a look at your starting posture. Spine's relatively straight and on a nice tilt. Legs come down into a nicely unlocked position. Arms hang down nice and naturally in front of you. Club works out to the ball. So achieving some pretty good posture here. In association with good balance, looks really good. Let's go ahead and also take a look at your alignment. We can see your feet running in this direction. Carry that out towards the intended target. Now theoretically your club face is supposed to run parallel. Your feet parallel lines on camera will have an appearance to converge. With that philosophy in mind, we can see you're sort of maybe set up down the left side of the fairway. Okay. From here we're going to go ahead and do a little split screen comparison between you and Jordan Spieth. I've got some color-coded lines on the screen just to use as a visual reference as it pertains to swing plane. We can see with Jordan, as he initiates his takeaway, he creates good shoulder rotation, bringing the arms and hands back as well as the club. Want to see the club coming back along the red line on plane. We also want to see some wrist hinge, whereby we're going to transition the club head from being below and in front of our hands right now to getting the club head above and behind. So this move right here, very important part of the golf swing. From here, as we continue to work this to the top, we want to move the club from red up towards the blue-yellow V zone. When we finally set the club at the top of the backswing, we either want to have the left arm of the club situated on the yellow line, anywhere within the blue-yellow V zone, or physically up on blue, as we can see with Jordan Spieth. We also want to have full shoulder rotation. We want to do this about a very stable right leg, all the while maintaining the posture and the spinal axis we achieved at address. Let's go ahead and watch you initiate your takeaway here. You draw your hands back nicely, turning your shoulders. Do have a tendency of sort of popping the club head a little bit out in front of your hands here. It's ever so slightly, so it's really not an issue. As long as you create some hinge here and you get the club head to basically move above and behind your hands, club will have recovered back into a good position. So let's go to the next frame. So it's still pretty decent, a little bit out in front still, no big deal. Got to get that club head behind the hands now. So there it goes, starts going behind the hands a little bit. Next frame, good. Shallow it out a little bit more, perfect. Okay, as we work that to the top now, we can see that you stand up out of your posture a little bit, so that might be something you want to work on, learning how to create a nice rotational movement while maintaining your posture, and maybe understanding how to work your legs a little bit better in the golf swing. As far as your backside, it looks like your backside, it might sort of dive in towards the ball a bit as we go to the top. So let's get you back to the top of the swing. Rear end sinks in. Yeah, it does. Okay. So when the rear end sinks in, it causes the spine to come up. So one of the things you need to do is learn how to clear your right hip, keep your backside exactly where it was at address, and obviously rotate upon that position. And that'll prevent your spine from coming up. Anyways, let's see where we take this at the top of the backswing. So we can see by the time you get to the top, you've created good shoulder rotation, pretty stable right leg. Again, we see that you stand up out of your posture. Your arms stay in pretty good geometry relative to your core, and your club stays in pretty good position relative to your arms. So pretty decent set position here, other than the fact that we're standing too tall. As we create our transition back into the ball, as we can see with the left side of the screen, want to move our weight from our right foot to our left. Want to fire our knees and our hips laterally to the target. Unwind the core and fire the hands. And doing so, we got to bring the golf club from wherever we set it within that blue-yellow V zone. We got to get the golf club to return back to red, and that's exactly what we see here. With Jordan Spieth, the golf club is returned back to on plane. The other thing we want to pay attention to is the relationship between the lead form and the golf club. I refer to this as the backwards check mark. It simply means that the club head right now is remaining above and behind his hands coming into the hitting zone, and this is what's going to allow us to create a lot of power in our golf swing, let alone also his ability to hit the ball straight due to the fact that, again, the club has returned back to plane, which is a main criteria in producing straight golf shots. Let's go ahead and watch you create your transition back into the ball. So hands drop really nicely there. Let's go back to the top, watch this a little slower frame by frame. So the hands drop really nicely. You dive back down into your posture, get your backside almost back in position, so that's good. And then right here, let me see, one more frame? No, let's go back a frame. So right here, basically what we can take a look at is the relationship between your lead form and your golf club. We have your backwards check mark, so obviously creating some power in your golf swing won't be an issue. The only thing is the golf club is not fully really returning back to plane like we see with Jordan, so your club shaft is a little bit more steep coming into the ball here, let's say at about 52 degrees, whereas we might want it a little bit more over here, maybe at 42 degrees, okay? That would be ideal. As we go to the next frame, my only concern with the club shaft not returning to plane being a little steep is this club going to now fall out in front of your hands and not return back to plane. So let's go to the next frame. Awesome job right there. So you're keeping the club head above and behind your hands. Club is falling right on top of the plane. And basically what we're seeing right now is that, I mean, at pre-impact here, his club is above and behind and on plane, and your club is almost very much in that position. You do have a little bit more arm separation out in front, club's a little bit more on top, but not too bad right there. Let's go to the next frame. At this point in time, yeah, see, we do see the club sort of moving just maybe ever so softly to the outside there, whereas Jordan's club simply comes into the ball directly from this red line here, okay? So he will be attacking the ball more from on plane and therefore more on that natural arc that's inside of the golf ball, okay? Through the golf ball at this point in time now, what we can take a look at is the path of the club where his club is inside the ball, expands out and makes contact, moves through in a nice natural subtle arc. Your club is stuck a little bit outside the ball, and then obviously swinging back to the inside just a little bit there. And that obviously probably has a little bit to do with the fact that you were aiming a little left. So you're actually swinging the club on a better arc than we're seeing here. It's really not that out to in. It's on a pretty decent arc relative to where your aim. Only problem is if that club face squares up now perfectly, we are going to hit the ball down the left side, left edge of the fairway towards the left rough, just because that's where we're aiming. Okay, so let's see what your club face did on the way through here. So it looks like your club face stayed a little bit open via that path. We can see the ball heading out in this direction a little bit. So if that club face, so if you squared the face up to your path, we would have assumed the ball would have headed a little bit more in this direction, okay? And then what it does in the air is going to be indicative based on the spin, right? If you over-release the club right to left spin, it's going left. Leave it open, left to right spin, going right. I think that club face was a little bit open through impact there, and I have a feeling the ball's got a little bit of left-right spin, and it's going to continue out to the right with a bit of a fade. Other thing I want to point out here is your right heel all the way through to your finish stays on the ground. Notice with the left side of the screen is right heel's off the ground at point of impact. Watch the continued activity of this footwork through to the finish. This right heel comes fully up off the ground. We get up on the toe of the right foot. That allows us to count the spikes in his shoe. This will get all his weight to his left side, allows therefore his hips to square around, shoulders to fully rotate, hands are high with the club back in behind him. So you definitely, based on your golf swing, this would be the #1 thing you just need to do in your golf swing. It's a very, very simple move. We're at the top of the backswing, all the energy stored on the right foot. Okay, we're going to swing through now. Well, get that right heel off the ground, get up on the toe of the right foot, get the weight to the left side. Very easy footwork to create coming through, okay? So you definitely want to achieve that proper footwork. It'll make your golf swing look aesthetically way better, and then obviously your motion through to the finish will correspond much better to how nice your backswing is, okay? And from here, I mean, again, you know, setup's good, posture balance, alignment's a hair left, backswing's looking really, really good. Downswing, unfortunately, yeah, you know, it comes just a little bit over the top, a little bit steep, and attacking the ball just a little bit from out to in, and then you got to compensate with that club face a bit, leaving it a bit open and just hitting a little bit of, probably a little bit of a fade there from left to right, okay? Anyways, if at any point in time you ever want to work on any of these aspects of your golf game, certainly feel free to touch base. I teach over at Glen Abbey in Oakville, obviously where the event was held. Be happy to structure a little program for you. Also, if you're involved with any golf tournaments at all, you guys are looking for a unique gift to provide your guests, feel free also to touch base. Be happy to discuss my swing analysis services with you. Anyways, I hope you had a fantastic day, and I hope you enjoyed getting an opportunity to see your swing on video.